Right now, you can connect your AI agent to Blender with plugin and MCP. But what if we put AI right inside to get access to all core possibilities of Blender? Well, someone actually did that. They actually made fork of Blender and made it AI first, and that works surprisingly well. You can actually test it for free right now, and it's open sourced, which is amazing. I was playing with this tool for a while now, and let me show you what it can do. We're gonna do some complex tests, including tests with Fable 5, which has just got back, and I also gonna show you the whole workflow and what's new in this AI Blender. So the tool name is Mixar, and it is essentially the fork of Blender 5.0, which is great, but this time the team behind it put a lot of effort into it and they reworked quite a lot. I'm gonna show you the interface, what's new, how it works, etc. But first, let's do some quick tests. My favorite test is baking, because I don't like to do baking manually. And here I have high poly and low poly character. And in one prompt, I ask it to bake all parts isolated, and I want to bake ambient occlusion map and normal map. Note, I do not provide any detail about baking settings, so I was curious to see if it's gonna figure it out or no, because when I was testing it through MCP, this process usually takes long. And the first thing I noted is that it works way faster than with MCP, and it doesn't do too much of checks, or maybe it actually does in the background, but at least in Blender, what you can see is that this green animation saying that something is cooking, and also it prevents some actions, so you cannot really change anything while it's cooking. You can explore everything. You can go check, select objects, like do some renames even, but they prevent you from interrupting the process if you not do that through the chat, which is actually makes sense. And the result for one prompt was absolutely amazing. First of all, it did all the parts. It somehow succeeded with the settings, so you can see the maps that it baked. It was not 100% perfect, but again, like baking in the Blender is not the easiest thing. So what was wrong is that the distance, I think, should be adjusted a little bit. And again, my parts was a little bit too close, but overall, that was like 95% there in just one prompt without even giving too much details. I was fairly excited and I did more complex baking test, but first let me give you a quick tour. What is this about? So you install it like you install Blender, and basically that is Blender. You can open any Blender file here. It looks like this, and first thing we can see that there's a mood board and the cube, and there will be a walkthrough explaining that this is a simple mode, what they call Zen mode. But you have all Blender functionality here if you click the engine mode. If you click the engine mode, basically this is the complete Blender 5.0. But it does have some new stuff such as mood board, which I think Blender need to immediately steal, because this is absolutely genius thing. So you basically can just drag and drop images here and work with this canvas, and there are a lot of features also right here in this mood board that allow you to work together. And here is your chat. Basically they call it Mixi. I can make it smaller, bigger, and yeah, if you select something, it automatically adds to the chat, which also makes sense. No control copy, etc. So first about agent does everything. It can control all the stuff. Separately, you can access different type of generation. They're also available here in the mood board we're gonna go over. And also there's an ask mode, but again, like you can just keep the agent. That's more than enough. That's how I did the test. It works pretty fine. And the good thing, agent is always on top, so you will not really miss it. But if you miss it, you can click this open Mixi here. Now in the mood board, we can see image generation, right? So like you just type a prompt, or you can even like select and use some images for image editing, etc. Right now they do have only Gemini, which is Nana Banana, and I'm pretty much agree that's enough. For image to 3D, we do have Triple Rodin Hunyon. There is basic and pro version, basically allow multi-view. There is retopology. Retopology you can do with Triple or Hunyon. Very nice to have it here. And there is generate scene, which I'm gonna show you later in the video. I was really surprised that they actually made it work. The idea is that you drop an image, extract parts, and it helps you to combine it all together, particularly with the case of rooms and some stuff like that. I did big test. I'm not sure what they use inside. I guess there's some smart segmentation, but it really worked out. Then we have PBR map generator, that's fine. Segmentation, block out, and queue. In queue, you're gonna see all the generation tasks such as image, 3D, scene, etc. And essentially that's it, and that's already a lot. One last thing that here you can access your accounts, so you can use Mixar subscription here, or you can actually connect your API key, and there are plenty of models that support it. Again, OpenAI key, Gemini, Anthropic, and I was surprised to see Sakana. So Sakana is an orchestrator model that shows results better than Fable 5. Well, that's the benchmark, that's what they say. So very interesting. And of course I did some tests with Fable 5 to compare, but Fable 5 is crazy expensive. Now here's one of the coolest tests that I did. And guys, this was made from first recording, I'm telling you. So I had this character that I created for another video, and I wanted to do like more complex. I mean, since it does so great job in baking, I wanted to escalate it a little bit. How about we take all these more than 10 pieces of armor. Again, like each piece here I have like a texture. So what I asked it, like, I want you to bake it like in one mesh, everything, right? Basically join mesh, one map, one texture, one UV, and see if it actually can manage that. And in just few minutes, it managed to do that. Now, what's important to know is that this test was made with free version. I still don't have subscription, and there is no Fable 5. That's just a basic model that they have. And it seems that with all the harness that they build around it, it does like really good job. So it baked me like the complete texture. Actually, it baked all things into color texture, and then I actually decided to go a bit wild. I saw it made UV, but it re-unwrapped it with smart UV projection. That's not a great thing because there's a lot of objects. So I asked it, can you not use smart UV? So basically do the same thing again, but not use smart UV. Instead, can you just pack the UVs that already existed? I think they were packed better. And you can see like one short prompt, not much of details, and it did the rebaking and it became so much better. Look at this map. Yeah, I mean, like that's again 10 pieces, more than 10 pieces, but the resolution now fits nicely, but we can take it even further. Right now it bakes everything, all information in one color map. The next prompt I asked is that, fine, I'm happy with UV. How about we bake normal, metallic, and roughness, because there was such maps and they were actually giving like this nice effect. And yes, it did all the job. So now what you see, I have one object, one 4K texture, like color, metallic, roughness, and normal. And to be honest, I was trying to do similar test with Blender MCP and Claude Code, and that was not really working. Not to say it was taking way more time. And since everything is so nice and working, how about we also ask to do the LODs? I remember someone in the comments was asking to do that test. Let's do that test. So here's my prompt, right? I will say the current one is LOD 0 and I need 2 more LODs, right? Again, I was doing the same prompts with MCP and it was not always working from first try. I'm gonna ask to reduce geometry and reduce the maps. So 4K original map, LOD 1 2K, LOD 2 1K. Again, that's just a test. You can adjust the values better. And here's everything done. It's time to review the results. And the results are absolutely great. So LOD 2, you can see it keeps the shape decimated. I also checked the texture resolution. It was exactly as it should be. And you can see the shader, everything connected, all maps are created. And later when I actually wanted to save the file, it suggested like 52 new textures created. So whatever they did inside, it works. And as I said, again, it's open source. You can actually check what's inside. You can play with Claude, inspect it, or even make it a better version. I also did one more test with this model, and this time I asked it to create a toon shader with a white outline for my object. And again, one thing to highlight within this environment, this harness, it is way faster than through MCP. Again, I don't really know the details, what's inside, but I really appreciate the speed. And that was really easy to test. And a little bit about compatibility. Again, you can pretty much import, drag and drop any blend file here. Even 5.1 version will work here. And for the saving, they use internal format called Mixar, but don't worry, you can also export it blend. For example, you need to give someone who only work with Blender. So in this case, they did really great job making this tool compatible with any other software. Huge like for that. Now, before I show you the complete workflow with that mood board, part extraction, scene combining, one more test with animation. So we have this keyboard and there's like two objects, body and keys, and we ask to make the animation like keys drops with some nice animation of bounce, and it also needs to split it. I did that test with Claude MCP, and that time again I had to do two prompts. One prompt did the good job and the second prompt actually fixed it. So here the first test that you're gonna see is with the free model, and in just 3 minutes here's the results, and that is actually pretty decent results. Super happy for free, absolutely like. Now I plugged Fable 5 to see if Fable 5 will actually do better job with the animation. Well, to be honest, I added a little bit to the prompt. I asked it to make it cooler than I even asked and see if it will do some stuff. And indeed, Fable 5 started to add some interesting details. Like for example, initial state of keys, they were a little bit rotated. And with Fable 5, I saw it actually checked some time frames, and also it added additional bounce afterwards, which was just amazing. Boom, boom, boom. Wow. I did one additional prompt to not show keys before we have the body drop. That was just one small thing to show you nice final result. And you can also see how many keyframes it did, like, oof, quite a lot. That is absolutely cool. Well, Fable 5 is really amazing, but it's also very expensive. However, there is things like Sakana and there's Sonnet 5. So I think they will be also achieving pretty much the same results with much cheaper price. Now, let me show you how complete workflow using Mixar can be with using most of the tools that they created. So I think like creating a room will be the best example because they do have this scene generation. So I want to show you, right? So we're gonna drop an image of a bedroom to the mood board, and first thing is to create some additional references that we're gonna use for later details extraction. I really like that ease of use that you can click on the image on the mood board and that will instantly appear in the chat. You can select multiple image. Any node such as generation image also automatically uses that. So you are saving quite a lot of time, and as much as I like CLI such as Claude Code, I'm always struggling with one thing there is like how to drop like images there. You cannot copy paste image here. I mean, here of course you can do that. You can do that with desktop Claude Code, but what if I use to CLI version? And here I just ask it agent like basically extract me the object from my image, and well, it does all the job. You can always click on the queue to see what's actually happening, like what are you waiting, like some extraction. There is image to 3D and image generation, both separated, so you always can keep track of it. And it also created the objects for me right away. Agent can ask you questions time to time, and what I like, it gives you some options to answer just to save your time. It's not something special, it's just a good practice. And overall, my feedback after using this tool was that it is actually smooth, and I don't know, I'm a Blender user, right? And for me, this tool was like very easy to use. Like you use all the controls and stuff, and I think they sort of made Blender beginner friendly. Again, you still have complete Blender functionality. You can even install some additional plugins here. Like that's basically a Blender with AI layer, and that AI layer has deep access to all the Blender functionality, which is absolutely great. And also this agent can do better understanding on the space. What was very surprising for me is that it was able to build an accurate room. It also generated textures for walls, floor, and other stuff. But most impressive thing, probably for me, was that it placed most of the objects very accurately in the scene in terms of location. Yeah, of course, I had to go over and switch manually, but I really went adjust like scale and rotation. Like conceptually, it did really good job compared to MCP approach. I was actually thinking if this also can be connected like to one agent, like so two agents working together. And as I said, you can actually use it for free. Just install it. You're gonna have free account with quite generous free subscription. Link with some additional benefits will be in the description, or you can check it on the GitHub or use with your API key. And here's one more cool example from developers, how it can be used again, like extracting some parts, keeping a mood board, and basically providing a plan. And it is able to follow the plan, and that's absolutely cool. And that's it for now. And let me know in the comments what you think about this tool. That was Steph. Like and subscribe. Bye.